All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're basically opening up a cosmic cold case. We're investigating a planetary-scale catastrophe that, according to the source material, isn't random at all. It seems to happen on a predictable clock. And the thing is, this isn't just about ancient history. It's about a cycle that might be coming around again, right now.
Now, listen to this. This description comes from a document our sources cite, one that was apparently declassified by the CIA. It's talking about the aftermath of some unbelievable event, and this is really the heart of the mystery we're looking into. What in the world could cause a planet to flash freeze like that?
So, you have to ask, right? Is this just some wild story from the deep past? Or is our planet actually showing the same warning signs all over again? Okay, let's dive into the evidence and see where it takes us, starting with our planet's first and most important line of defense.
So, our investigation kicks off with a major problem. Earth's magnetic field, that invisible shield protecting us from all sorts of nasty stuff from the sun, is showing some seriously alarming signs of getting weaker and more unstable.
Okay, check out this first piece of data. Between the mid-1800s and the year 2000, so over 150 years, our planet's magnetic shield lost 10% of its total strength. Now, that's already a pretty big deal.
But then, things went into overdrive. From 2000 to just 2010, in only 10 years, the field lost another 5%. The speed of this decay just suddenly slammed on the accelerator.
And look, this isn't some fringe theory. The European Space Agency's own satellites confirm this. They're basically saying, hey, what used to take a whole century to happen is now happening every single decade. According to this data, our shield is definitely weakening, and it's happening faster and faster.
And while this is happening, the magnetic poles themselves are on the run. The North Pole isn't just wandering, it's sprinting towards Siberia at speeds that have never been seen before. And the South Pole? It's already packed its bags and left Antarctica completely. The data suggests they're on a collision course over the Indian Ocean. The sources see this not as a normal little wobble, but as a sign that the entire system is in crisis.
So, here's the crucial question. Are we seeing something totally new, or is this a recurring nightmare for our planet? To figure that out, our investigation now has to look back into the geological record, searching for echoes of these events in the past.
And when you look at the evidence from ice cores and deep-sea sediment, a pattern just jumps right out at you. These huge magnetic events, these pole shifts, seem to happen on a pretty regular 12,000-year cycle. And you even get smaller but still major events at the 6,000-year halfway marks. The last big one was 12,000 years ago, which means we're due.
Now this is what the sources are calling the smoking gun. Because when they look at these disaster layers in the rock, they find evidence of multiple catastrophes all hitting at the exact same time. You've got isotopes that could only be made in a star going nova, you've got signs of a magnetic field that's weak or totally flipped, and you've got a mass extinction in the fossil record. It's a solar blast and a pole shift happening in perfect, terrible lockstep.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, it looks like flash-frozen mammoths in Siberia. They died so fast that the buttercups they were eating were still undigested in their stomachs. But here's the critical part. Those plants didn't grow in the Arctic. It means these animals were grazing in a temperate climate one moment and were catastrophically frozen in a brand new polar region the next. It's just insane.
Okay, so if you have a disaster that happens like clockwork, every 12,000 years, you need a trigger that also works on that same schedule. So for that, we have to zoom out. Way out, to the cosmic scale, where our sources identify a prime suspect for what pulls that trigger.
And here it is. This is the galactic current sheet. The easiest way to think of it is like a giant, wavy electromagnetic record spinning in the middle of our galaxy. Our solar system? We're like the needle on the record player. And about every 12,000 years, our orbit takes us right through it. The timing is a perfect match for the disaster cycle.
So, how do you make a star like our sun suddenly, erupt? Well, according to astrophysics, there are basically two main ways to do it. You can either zap it with a massive external magnetic field, give it a magnetic kick, or you can just dump a whole bunch of dust and gas right on top of it.
And here is the absolute kicker. The galactic current sheet, it does both. As our solar system passes through it, it delivers that powerful magnetic shock, and it's full of all the dust and gas needed to dump onto the sun. It creates the absolute perfect storm to trigger what the sources call a solar micronova, a massive explosive blast from our very own star.
So now we have our trigger. We can reconstruct what happens on the day itself. And I've got to tell you,
This isn't just a really bad solar storm we're talking about. This is a chain reaction that physically reshapes the surface of our entire planet.
So here's how it all goes down. First, that solar micronova erupts. The blast of energy hits Earth and doesn't just skim the surface, it surges right through the planet, melting the gooey layer between the crust and the mantle. This basically unlocks the entire outer shell of the Earth. And once it's free, the sheer force of the planet's spin takes over, grabbing the heaviest parts, the giant ice caps at the poles, and violently yanking them toward the equator.
And the speed at which this happens is, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. According to those source documents, this entire 90-degree shift of the planet's solid crust happens in a single day.
The consequences are, frankly, biblical. As the crust moves, the oceans, because of inertia, stay put for a moment. This creates mega tsunamis that wash over entire continents. Whole regions, like North America, get thrown into the polar circle, flash freezing them solid in a matter of hours. And the map of the world as we know it is just completely redrawn, with a new equator and new poles. So, what does all this mean for us? For our modern world, a global civilization that is completely dependent on some very fragile technology. This is where the investigation really hits home. The sources make a terrifying point. We don't even need the whole crust to slip for our civilization to completely collapse. A powerful solar storm, supercharged because it's hitting our already weakening magnetic shield, could be enough to knock out the entire global power grid. And without electricity, no clean water, no food distribution, no medicine, the estimate is a 90% death toll in just 6 months.
So, the big question, when? Based on how fast the magnetic field is decaying and how fast the poles are moving, the sources estimate the window for the next major event is just 10 to 25 years away. And the risk of one of those civilization-ending solar storms gets higher every single day our shield gets weaker.
You know, the craziest thing is, the evidence in the ground tells us that humanity in some form has survived this cycle before. They rebuilt from pretty much the Stone Age. So the question this whole investigation leaves us with is, are we prepared to do the same? Or has all our amazing technology actually made us the most fragile civilization of all?